conversation. Hopefully we will have some updates from Dr. Gupta and from our attorney on what we're able to do, and hopefully have more of a plan to be able to address this and kind of, fix the issue as much as we can for the residents that are affected by it.
Great. I look forward to that meeting. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that has a comment or question on something that is not on the agenda today? No? Okay. Well, then if you would please. Oh, I'm sorry.
John Castellini, 302 Westminster Road. Is this part of the meeting, public meeting here? Because you do the Pledge of Allegiance after this public meeting. Pledge of Allegiance should be said now, before you start the public meeting. And is this being recorded? You don't erase this, do you?
No, this is recorded and put up. Yeah.
Is there?
Yep. But it's not technically part of our board meeting because our board meeting, we stick to the agenda as much as possible with what is on here. So this is the opportunity for the public to present to the board or ask questions of the board of things that are not on the agenda, which is why we do that before we formally start the board meeting. We do it on a board meeting evening since we're all here and we have members of the public, but it is not technically part of the meeting, which is why it's done in this format. Okay, if you would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Supervisor Ruckteshow.
Here.
Counselors Alex.
Here.
Fiorenzo.
Here.
Gupta. Here. Hood. Absent. Mannion. Absent. And then Stevenson.
Our first item on the official agenda for this evening, or this morning, sorry, is a presentation from the Onondaga County Health Department on tobacco-free CNY. Would you please come up and you can introduce yourself to the board?
Hi everyone, I'm Marie Saba and I am the public health educator with Tobacco-Free CNY. We are located out of the Onondaga County Health Department. We also service Cuba County and Otsego counties as well. And our work works to reduce death, disability, and illness related to smoking and secondhand smoke. And today I'm here to talk to you all a little bit about one of our initiatives, and that is tobacco retail density. So I just want to talk to you all a little bit about how this may be affecting the local community and say this might be an area of interest or concern. So to provide a little bit more of an overview, tobacco retail density refers to the number of stores that sell tobacco products within a given geographic area. So we often see higher retail in areas of lower socioeconomic status or lower income communities. We also see more retail in areas where youth may frequent and are spending a lot of their time. And unfortunately, this reflects a long-standing targeted strategy by the tobacco industry to appeal to youth and to appeal to the community. Unfortunately, with a higher number or density of retailers, we see more exposure to things like tobacco marketing and advertising, which again is used to target youth specifically. And over time, we will see that with greater access to tobacco products, we are seeing higher youth initiation, as well as just overall increased negative health outcomes in the community. So to shed some additional light on our community specifically, in Onondaga County, we see about 12% of adults smoking cigarettes compared to 9% in New York State. And when we're looking at youth trends, we're seeing about 17% of New York State high schoolers are using tobacco products and 13.1% are most commonly using e-cigarettes or vapes, more commonly than. In the folders I provided, I do have a just quick infographic again, summarizing a little bit what I just talked about, but also I'd love to highlight a map on that infographic showing the town of DeWitt and the number of retailers in the area. So in the town of DeWitt, there are 31 tobacco retailers. These are licensed retailers, and we can see on the map visually the location of the retailers in respect to the local schools. So on the map, we see the JV district, which is highlighted by the green caps. Then we see the private schools that includes like CBA, MPH, and those groups. And then I also highlighted the ESM school district. Although it's not part of this community, I just like to highlight the relation of the retailers and the distance to all the local schools and how that just might be impacting the local community outside of also the town of DeWitt. So like I mentioned, we really like to focus a lot on those youth-focused spaces, particularly because of the great impacts these retailers can have on youth specifically. So now that we have this information, we like to think, what's next? What can we do? So the local municipality and local leaders like yourselves have the authority to take steps to reduce retail density in the community. And this can be done through local ordinance or local policy, where either the town decides to manage the licenses directly, and this allows you to have an enforcement structure and to manage these retailers and make sure that they are following the rules that you have set. So things like proximity to schools and again, youth-focused spaces, as well as proximity to each other, so other retailers and how many are in one area. And this can also look like doing things like capping the number of retailers, as well as also having some ordinance that will limit the types of marketing and advertisement that are outside of these spaces as well. So this is just a general overview of what this could look like, and our programs can provide technical assistance in this process. We have access to the Public Health Law Center, so they also provide us sort of best practices and language with how we can approach these licenses and ordinances. And we are here really to be of support, resource, and just really information in this process. And I do also have some additional information in those folders with other local examples of tobacco retail policy. So that includes the town of Salina and the city of Syracuse. So that way there's also some additional examples. I'm also happy to facilitate conversation with any of the neighboring communities to see how they have been going through this process and what it has looked like for their communities. And I would just love to work together and see if this would be something you all would be willing to address. So thank you so much for your time, and I would love to take any questions if you have any.
Great, thank you so much for this information. Beyond the two examples that you gave us, the Salina and the city of Syracuse, have other towns or municipalities in Onondaga County taken some steps to restrict tobacco retail?
Yes, so I believe the town of Clay also has their own ordinance, but it depends if it's necessarily licensing or if it'd be something maybe just focusing on, for example, a cap. But I would have to, we do have a list online. I would have to refer to that list to kind of get the entirety of all the communities in the area, but it is an ongoing thing that I'm working on to try to get more communities to engage in this. So, you know, it would be a great opportunity for the town to act as a champion or a catalyst for other communities to kind of follow in the footsteps. But I can definitely get more information on that if that would be helpful.
Just kind of a question you talked about. What I think would add to this as well, the availability of tobacco products, and especially to our children. If you have some more technical, scientific, background to that, showing how limiting the availability, limiting the visibility of that helps prevent our youth from taking up smoking in the first place, would be helpful for if we want to give good reasons why we want to take these steps.
Definitely. I don't have the offhand that this is actually.
Oh, no, absolutely, yeah.
I can definitely take that into consideration, maybe creating some materials that might be helpful to kind of have on hand as reference to, like you said, just more data and information about how this can directly impact you. I definitely agree, would be helpful to have on hand. I guess moving forward, is there any other information or things that might be helpful to your team that I could send over? Any other language information that might? Yes.
I have a question. Two. What is your engagement with the school districts specifically, help, the help teachers and or science or health studies. That's one, the high schools and middle schools. And then number two, when you say retail, you're speaking specifically of smoke shops, not
Yes.
not retail stores as in gas stations that have a whole lot of marketing efforts as well as keeping stuff at certain eye levels,
Yes.
all of that. So is the drive toward tobacco free exclusively to the retail stores, smoke shops, and or overall?
These are both great questions. So I do have a counterpart. Her name is Cameron Chafee, and she is the reality check coordinator. And so her work focuses directly on working with the youth. She usually has an after-school program where she will, have youth that are interested in the topic, where she educates on, basically about the industry, how they're targeting youth, and they actually sometimes come and work on projects that we're working on. And that is her role, sort of like educating, keeping the youth aware of like how they are being targeted. I personally have not had direct conversation with the schools, but I would love if that is something that you would, want to have as part of this conversation. I would love to have that conversation that and maybe gauge what they're experiencing and what trends they're seeing day to day with their youth. So that's something I'm more than happy to work on in the future, but we do have presence in some of the local schools. I know that it also is sometimes difficult to get presence in all the schools. As far as I'm concerned, I don't believe we have presence in the DeWitt district, but I believe that is part of Cameron's plans moving forward. And then to address the types of stores. So retailers does include gas stations, convenience stores, and discount stores. So this map of the, let's see, actually, on the map, 22 of those little fire symbols indicate gas stations or convenience stores. 6 of those include just solely tobacco retailers, so their primary products are smoke shop materials. And then 2 of those include discount stores, so those are like Dollar Generals. Those are the only types of like retailers in addition that like sell other products besides just like smaller like foods and things like that. So really, in theory, we probably would want to target more of those retailers solely because they're not really selling anything else. But then when it comes to those convenience stores, we can really focus on the marketing, like you mentioned, because I'm sure as you see when you enter, there's all types of like, logos and things like buy one, get ones and things like that that are really promoting the product. When you go up to the desk to check out, you're standing there and behind the clerk, there's all the tobacco products next to the toys and the candy and the gums and everything else that the little kids are grabbing for and asking for when mom is checking out. So with the ordinance, we're kind of addressing different parts. So we can say the cap and the proximity can address more of those specific, just solely smoke shops. And then with things like advertising, we can really address those convenience stores and gas stations. And I do also want to preface, our goal is really never to impact local business. We really want to just make sure that we are making sure that our businesses that are here are, taking the steps to sell legally and under the rules that you have set. So, and then if they're not, then that's kind of where we have that level of those steps of enforcement that we could, if needed, shut down a store if they are not, doing the things they're supposed to be doing essentially. Does that answer your question? Okay, perfect.
So,
Yes.
great, thank you. My old house.
Yes.
Hi, Karen. So it is a great work. The question I think comes from the town board is because these are already licensed places, they are businesses running.
Yes.
Town doesn't have any authority to revoke and shouldn't be doing that, right? What you're asking to have the new businesses to make sure this is the density, correct? Right? And I don't know whether we do any licensing. Who licenses that?
So it comes from the state, the New York
From the state, okay, right.
Yes.
So I know this is a state program, so that's what, a lot of those things is they shouldn't be providing licenses to the new one, right? The question for the considering how proximity, and we have seen more vaping, more cigarette use, overall it has increased everywhere now.
Yes.
This is kind of sad, but you see the kids vaping and there are more cigarette. So we can look into, I think, some of the zoning things. Something can be, if you have some I see some examples of some ordinances there. You work with the, when I was there, we worked with the city of Syracuse at that time, I think.
Yes.
It was short of a partially successful, but then finally, if it was successful, some of those examples will be nice, how we can do it for the future.
Yes.
But the problem is that city works in a different ways than towns.
Yes.
That's a big difference in how the ordinances work. They actually can restrict, we don't have that, I
We
think.
have an ordinance.
We have
for
some
Smoke
that-
shops, but we had to define what a smoke shop is. Before
Right.
we allowed them as retail stores. So
Yes.
right now they can operate as retail stores. But a new smoke shop that wants to come in, any other zone that's not business or industrial, are not gonna be able to locate there.
Right.
There's distances to schools and nurseries and places of worship. There's distances between one smoke shop to the other smoke shop, to the next smoke shop. So it's a start. It's not quite where some of these other
Right.
municipalities are, but it is a start and a recognition by the board that some changes have to
So
be
who
made.
would they work with? If there's anything that they have some sort of a mock proposal, who would be the connector here, planning?
So yes, but I'm going to work with them
Okay.
as well. We'll work together and see if there are some
Right.
updates. As Matt said, we do have a smoke shop specifically
Yes.
law that we already did in DeWitt that did not include licensing and it did not include a limit on the number of licenses. So that is one of the things that,
Purpose is right where what you're talking about. Our
Yeah.
purpose and your purpose are aligned.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
we
we're-
can make changes that.
I think we're looking at with their help and the expertise that they have with working with New York State and with other municipalities. Is there a way to amend our law to help improve the health of our youth?
Tobacco is the number one cause of everything,
Yes.
essentially heart and everything.
Yes, all of it.
The other part is that education to the youth. I think I'd strongly recommend to team to go to the schools and get to the health classes. Because no matter what you think, if out of 10 kids, if 2 kids even listen to you, right?
It's better.
That's better than nothing. So that is something you have to do parallel.
Yes.
But thank you. Keep up the
Of
good
course,
work.
of course.
I don't know.
Save one kid.
Say one kid, right? I know. Thank you.
Yes, that's the hope. Well, I really appreciate everyone's time, and yes, I would love to discuss further, and even just in regards to zoning too, like, I did take some time to read through that, so I would love to even discuss maybe how retail license could almost complement zoning and things like that, maybe a way to kind of meld it all together, but I really appreciate everyone's time, and I hope we can continue this conversation.
Marie, I love these topics. You can call me about it anytime. I'd be happy to talk.
Awesome, I would love to discuss further. Thank you again, I really appreciate it.
No,
I can
absolutely.
include it in there.
Yes.
Yes.
At any point.
We have an ex.
I love to, I think we have, a great team here, so thank you again, and have the best day.
Thank you. Good.
Oh,
work.
absolutely. Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, since I've been on the board in the last 5 years, we've enacted legislation to make the town of DeWitt property smoke-free. We eliminated smoking from our town parks, from our other town hall, our other properties. We initiated the smoke shop legislation to deal with the zoning of those. I think this is an obvious next step to work on continuing in this vein to hopefully help protect our youth. Yes, achieve our purpose.
Yes.
Can I ask her a question? Sure. So you concerned about the long-term effects of smoking? Are you gonna limit the number of donut shops?
Donor shops.
Donut shops, yeah, they have long-term effects too. You know,
Yes.
diabetes and other health, are you gonna limit that too?
So I think the idea is more that we want to make the healthy choice the easy choice, so when we think about health behaviors and smoking to,
You're not answering my question. Are you gonna limit the number of donut shops?
Short answer, no.
Okay, are you gonna limit the number of marijuana shops?
Here.
That's a New York State regulation. And again, we do have laws for that as well. So
Okay, but is the county health department taking a position on the number of marijuana shops?
We don't have any, I don't think that.
Cannabis is actually governed by the state. There is no, so the tobacco, the county actually does the inspection for the T21 when we passed many years ago to make sure that there's no young kid, and it's trying to prevent youth to take the
We're not
tobacco.
gonna limit the number of
It's-
new marijuana shops.
No, they can't do that. This is.
Do you know who Eric Garner is?
I do not.
What's that?
Do you know who Eric Garner is?
I don't think you should.
Who is
be
what?
on
Eric Garner in 2000.
Peter,
Peter, we're gonna move on.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Marie. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Marie. Okay, the next item on our agenda is town board minutes. Does anybody,
Oh, August,
Yeah.
sorry.
does anybody have any changes or amendments to the town board minutes? Okay, seeing none, I have a motion from Bernard. I have a second from Joe. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, back to the, oh, do you just want to do the amendment first?
Yeah.
Okay. July 27th, we had an amendment to the minutes brought up by Counselor Stevenson.
So it was just corrected to reflect her correct hours per standard work.
The standard workday resolution, yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions on this? Do I have a motion and a second for the amendment? Motion from Bernard, a second from Joe. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, legislative conference. Do we have anybody that wants to go, can go?
And there's going by herself. Yeah, I know. I was trying to convince her. Anybody else wants to go? Bernard?
No.
Okay, so then,
It's a great topic there.
yes, it looked like a very good information. So what we will need is two resolutions. One approving Councilor Gupta to attend the conference and be reimbursed for her travel expenses. And then the second to name her our delegate for the conference. So do I have you priced it out at all? How much between the hotel and the?
I didn't know why it was not, I didn't know.
It's one night, right? You plan on being there one night?
Yeah, it's a one night, so I'll go in the morning and then come
Okay.
next day.
Do we want to do up to $1,000? It should be less than that, but I think that's how much is,
75 is the fee, depending
Okay.
on what time.
and then with travel, so
Travel.
up to 500? If we need, we'll do up to 500. If we need to do more, we can do more after. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve up to $500 for travel expenses for Councilor Gupta to attend the conference? Motion from Joe, a second from Bernard. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Give me a second. And then I'll take a motion to appoint Councilor Gupta as our delegate to the conference. Motion from Joe and a second from Bernard. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
So am I registering myself because there was a confusion last time?
We'll work with Carrie for the registration for the conference and that.
I mean, I can do either way, doesn't.
Okay, we'll talk after the meeting and we can figure that out. Okay. Thank you for going. I'd be interested to see your report coming back on the interesting things.
They're good topics, actually.
Yeah. Okay, town clerk, your July monthly report.
I just gotta switch. I put the packet in your, I put the report in your packet. I don't know if anybody had any questions on it. The only thing I really wanted to address is the foils. I sent an email out, I think it was Friday or Thursday regarding the foil software. And the chief and I have been working together for proposals in front of the board because we have been getting a exorbitant amount of foils, and the foil software would help us to organize, make sure that they're being responded to on time. It allows us to coordinate through the departments. I know the police have gotten over 300 this year, and I have gotten over 130 since late February. And I'm just, one of the other bonus parts to having the software would be that, the redaction, because there's a lot of, the video footage, the reports all have to be redacted with private and personal information. And the software does help do that. And so we're hoping to add that to the next agenda. But other than that, I mean, the office has been my office has been going pretty smoothly. We're just working on finalizing some projects that we can get done over the summer. We're really taking scanning to the forefront, and all of the staff has been really great over the summer. So we're gonna start taxes very soon, and that will be what our main thing is in September.
So Angela, the software program which you intend to purchase, or chief wants to, I think. Is that something will be in the next agenda?
Yeah, that will be in the 1st of September. So I just emailed the quote.
Yeah, I saw.
And we'll have a more formal.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give everybody a chance to, see if they have questions, if there's specific things that you're looking for us. Shane and I have started calling, the users, current users of GovQuest. I've heard back from one so far who spoke very highly of it, so.
So when we'll talk, probably just to keep that in mind when you're talking to them, because a lot of times deletions of the footage and personal information will be through their software program using AI or something. Would somebody will still be look over, right?
Oh, yeah, none of it's automatic. It would still require the police department to go through and hand, to actually address those. You can kind of make some of it automated,
Yeah.
but you're still reviewing all the information.
One question I'll ask all those companies will be that what is their, I don't want to call it error, but in a way that, what is their success rate in deleting everything? Are they 99% or are they 80% or?
Well, it's not really, well, you still have to look over it all. I mean,
Yeah.
so you should never just rely on that.
Right.
And that is just ones so say there's Mary Smith
Yeah.
is a name that repeats 20 times in the document. You're gonna type in Mary Smith, it will find those and then
Right.
redact those. But you should still, whoever's doing it in the police department should still review it. I would, even if they said there's 100%, I would still recommend somebody look over everything.
Okay,
So,
that's more of a thought, yes.
yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other questions for Angela?
Yes, the Quest was the one that works more specifically with the, say, towns and villages, police departments, or they all do. If they're looking at the three of them.
Well, GovQuest, I think initially started out as
Yes.
police. And the person I spoke to, the one person I got a hold of was actually in the city clerk office. But the police also do it there. In my opinion, the police are the most user heavy and they have the most, it's more imperative for them. Mine are, I know what to redact and it's not very often I'm redacting anything at all. So I'm more comfortable doing somebody that has more experience in the police section.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much, Angela, for your report. We have next on the agenda, the check register from August 17th. Were there any questions? The comptroller is here this morning. Seeing none, do I have a motion to accept? From Joe, a second from Bernard. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, town board updates. I know you have one, Dr. Gupta, on the quarry.
Yeah, so continuing what Emily was bringing to our attention, I prepared and I'll send it. I'll send it to you and then you can put whatever you want to do there because my brain works better when I write everything down. I just, as you know, the problem surrounding the quarry continue to persist despite what I reported on June 22nd meeting when I have talked about that. Since then, I've continued my conversation with a lot of town residents as well as the DEC. And also I was able to do the tour of the facility. So Mr. Christopher Terrell, who's the facility manager, he actually gave a lot of time and answered my questions. I had tons of questions, whether it's permit, hours, and everything. And I was able to raise every questions, which the questions came, whether it's a dust, whether it's a noise, whether it's a vibrations because of those things. And they were very open, Mr. Terrell, I invited him, I said, would you be willing to come to the town board to talk to the people and talk to the town board? And he said, yes, we would definitely do that. So September is very busy for them because I think they have some visits from their big brother. So he said that he'll be able to come on in October. So I will send you the information. I don't know whether you have contact, so you can arrange that for the October with him.
That's great. Thank you.
It was a very open, very honest, frank conversation. And they understand that's what is happening. They are doing it. So I'll just give you when I went there. So I observed the quarry's extensive operation firsthand. Wow, that was, I live next door, but I still, you don't know what is happening inside. From the blasting zones to stone processing, land restoration, water cleaning processes, and truck traffic on the paved interior roads. They have a lot of roads they're paved now. And to my surprise, actually, the dust was significantly less inside because there are a lot of water spraying there. I also noted new water conservation effort. They are making a sort of a lake because watershed coming from Butternut is, I was a little concerned that you are sending it back there with so much sludge. So he said, yes, DEC has been concerned about that. So they are making that and they are going to start reuse that water. It's work in progress, had not happened. So I would go back and check it. And he said, and you can come anytime. So I'll schedule that. DEC, so Region 7 Director, as you already know, we already know that September 14th she's coming. I also met her in a recent DEC open house. And I reiterated some of those things, which I'm hearing again. And one of those things is that, can we ask of DEC to do preventative strategy instead of reactive strategy? What is happening that we are mitigating. But at the front end, nobody's trying to do to prevent what is happening. So we'll just keep on circling. It's like, mouse in a little wheel. That's what it feels like right now. And then I keep on asking everybody, as DEC said, that put the complaints on the website so that they will continue to do the violation, which they have been doing. So I equivocally communicated the community's concern to both the DEC director and Heidelberg representative that current operations are expansive and causing significant disturbance to both the environment and public health. The present permit, which was issued in 2024 when the quarry was first, quarry was actually far less active. I have been there living in the same neighborhood for more than 3 decades. Never saw this much. The current almost 24/7 operation requires reassessment and operational restrictions to protect public health. Reactive mitigation policies alone are not achieving the results necessary to safeguard our community. So I came here today to ask, at least as a town council representing our community, to send a formal recommendation to DEC Region 7 to Director Glantz addressing these concerns. The letter will ask the DEC to take proactive steps instead of taking reactive only, and may continue to mitigate the daily negative impacts on our community. I'm hoping that all the town councilors will be in agreement, and I'll work with Matt to give him, he and I talked briefly about, and I'll just highlight some of those things, right? Number 1, what is that? Persistent dust. Despite a significant violation they have been given, and Heidelberg's, they are trying to do their best effort, current measures fall short. Inhaling these dust particles poses respiratory risk, increasing the incidence and exacerbation of asthma. And later on, we don't know that what else is there because we don't know these particles, what kind of particle, because there's no measurement there. They're not measuring those things. The Doubletree neighborhood, which is kind of, if you can see that there's so much dust there, it's in people's backyard, the dust is coming there. So recommendation will be the particle size testing, so they can measure that. DEC have all the tools. They can make DEC, the Heidelberg do it, or they do themselves. Enhanced tire washing. So I saw the operation, how the tires, they have the water thing, but it's kind of going through the water. They are not being able to wash all the dust which is wrapped around in there. So they can do more reinforcement of that. Road watering, I happened to go to the other side in the clay for some other reasons. And I saw the Micron trucks were doing we have the similar problem there. And there's so much water there, it was creating puddle, right? So I told the gentleman, I told the manager, Mr. Terrell, that they have too much water, you have hardly any water in there. So can you find the balance there? So he said they are going to look into it. Even though we are not their regulatory agency, he seems to be very open about that. So I really have to give, credit where it belongs. And the street sweeping is sort of, I pass that every single day, 10 times a day, because that's the only way I can go out to the, rest of the places, other than if I go take the roundabout to the other side of 173. Their sweepers are kind of, sometimes you don't even see that they are doing a good job, and they are above the street. And there's hardly any water coming out. So that's pretty much, I actually talked to him a couple of times, a few days ago. So I told him that please look into that. And at the same time, when we are using the water, we have to be very careful about the watershed runoff, because that can impact local water quality, because that goes into, they take the water from Butternut Creek and it goes back there. And that's the problem. And I also write a report in there is the Janesville Reservoir actually have some of those, they have like an island coming. That was in 2020, actually, not now. So if so much sludge is going to go back, how is it going to do runoff? So these are the things the DEC should look into those things. This we can do, but at least as a strong proponent of those protecting the environment and health, I would suggest that in some of those things, and I will. The third part is the loud noise. I mean, it is operating. I downloaded an app from the CDC, it's called NIOSHA, and it can monitor up to 40. So I will do that you can hear that when I'm walking my dog or when I'm in that area. It's the decibels is about 40 to 60. It can go up to 60, which is kind of high because I'm not right there. And then on occasion, it went to 70 to 80 to 90. So where if you are up higher, and my house is almost flat line, and the people who are higher, they are seeing. So I don't see the light pollution, but I can hear the noise pollution quite a bit. They can do noise monitoring, which Heidelberg can actually put it in different places. I went to attend a DOT's open house a few weeks ago in Clay to see that how do they do all these things. And because when they're doing expansion of I-81 and 481 and Route 31, that seems so clear. They actually are trying to put these measures, which I'm just talking about. And I said, oh, we should do that in our neighborhood there because we are crying for these things. So between DOT and DEC, they should be able to provide these measuring devices or ask the Heidelberg to do that too. So we will know actually how much noise is there. And as we were talking about operating hours restrictions are so critical. Nobody should be doing that. I mean, nobody can sleep there with the windows open. And light pollution is another one. So when I talked to their manager, to the Heidelbergs, and because he was there too, and they were very open for recommendations. The thing is, if they have the right staff, I said, if you reduce the noise pollution, if you reduce the working hours, everything will be quiet. And then would you shut off the lights? He said, yes, because everything will shut off there. And that is good for everybody. I think it's good for the workers. It's good for the community. And as I will repeat that, I was so excited when the Micron came. Nobody's trying to reiterate what Emily was saying. And the people who I talked to, all the people in the community, nobody is complaining about, they said, we want that to have it. They just want everything to be in a nicer way so that we can, it could have longevity because it's just not going to work there. So if the only thing is that DEC has to update the permit, that's would be our biggest one. Traffic safety, we talked about that a little bit, I think that, and I didn't realize DEC actually had a police force. I was say, oh, so I think what I have talked to the chief also, that a coordinated effort will be a good way to do that. The last but not the least is the blasting alerts. So they do blast a lot now at the dynamite. So he explained to me and showed me, and blasting have restrictions. So they are following those. I also looked at the seismic graphs. They are sticking to below what they're called Z lines. So he sent me multiple graphs and I was very pleased to see that. Inside the house, there's a lot of vibration you can hear, but outside you don't hear that much. But that is a DEC's work also to make sure that, do they need that many? And that's the question. I think these are the things we can put that in there. So I'll work with Matt to put those so he can put it a little bit formally, and then we can bring it to the board. And maybe present it to when she comes here. That would be a good formal way to see that we are asking on behalf of our residents. And I'm hoping all the town councilor will be willing to do that, to provide that recommendation to the DEC. And I'll keep on doing what I can do, and continue to provide I don't know, you have any questions?
No, I think that's a great presentation. I think a letter to the DEC asking them to be more proactive.
Yeah.
And giving them these suggestions is a great way to go.
Yeah.
And yes, we can work on it over the next couple of weeks so that we can vote to approve a letter for the meeting that the regional director is here. Which is a great time to.
So I'll work with you and him, and I have a lot of those things. We can put some references too. So it's all evidence-based, right? We are not saying because we are feeling that. So that's how personally I work. So I'll work with Matt and you.
And we'll work with, as I said, I already talked to Derek about some monitoring of the current noise ordinance.
Yeah.
So if we can get some data with our decibel
And then other quarries, I did a lot of search, and other quarries actually do these things. So they can have and then also notification, I forgot to put it there, notification. And they said they send notification to some, I don't know who, town doesn't get notification, correct? For their blast? Because they can
hear it outside.
I know. So I said that a bunch of residents actually have asked that could you put a notification system so if people know when it's going to come, you are not that startled. I mean, I was sitting the other day, it was like this, I just got startled pretty intensely there. And then one of my other neighbors said my windows also shattered, right? So a lot of those things which we are going through, we want to have a way in which, so that will be part of the notification system. I think that's something, whether DEC they are putting it somewhere. So I asked Mr. Terrell can you let me know who are you?
They notify the DEC every time they are, but what they notify us is their hours. So like they send us, I believe, once a year, this is what we're permitted to blast.
Yeah.
And so it will be within this, but they do not let us know every time.
Right. So I think their side, so I looked at they do once a week, they said. But when they're doing it, so if they can send a text notification kind of thing, those kind of things. So he's going to send me who they are sending notification to. So then I can come back to you and then see. We don't have a standard notification center at this point, but I think they're working on those.
Yes, and we can work on that to see whether it's through the town or
the county.
Them directly.
Yeah. So that's fine. Okay, and I don't know if anybody has any question. I have the one thing FYI. We are doing, we did the moratorium for data center, and there is a lot of movement has been happening. So I'm one of the panelists in the data center discussion in the Lysander. I've been invited to speak with the Senator Gonzalez, and then Dr. Jennifer Stormy, and then I think the Lysander's supervisor will be, I don't know whether he's going to be there. So it's about how the policies and procedures should be done at this point. I think this is the conversation. I would ask people to attend that. because we will have to veto the moratorium, so we better come up with some policies here, because we are going to rely on state, but at the same time, the state's executive order versus Senate's proposals, which is omnibus bill, which is not approved yet, not signed, where we will fall, I think we have to protect our communities in a right way. So I think we'll have to come up with our own ordinances. So I will, will be work in progress. So I'll be part of that conversation.
Great. Anything else, Dr. Gupta?
That's good. I think I didn't get enough.
Before we move on with any other town updates, I did want to take a step back. I did miss on the agenda our water meter change orders. So I just want to take care of that before we move on any further. Engineer Doug Miller, what is in this current change order for the water meter project?
Sure, let me give you a little update. Right now, the water meter project is about 75% complete. And out of that project, there were 8,000 water meters that we're working on townwide to replace. So the last time we were in front of you, Rocco and myself, we were looking at 32 meters that needed to be modified and replaced. 18 were full replacement, 14 were modifications. Since we've got authorization for up to $25,000 for that work. Since that time, the staff's been out. Activities ramped up in the last month. They've found 54 more meters out of the 8,000 that need to be modified. So we're looking at a total of 86 meters out of the 8,000 that need to be modified. And there is also an 8-inch meter that they found that needs to be a 10-inch. So with all that being said, what we were looking at was an additional plus or minus $54,000 above and beyond the $25,000, which would put us at modification for those meters at $79,000. And I doubled back with the comptroller, and we're still below our budget for that project. So
$1,000 a meter. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, you know, Patricia, it changes based on the size of the meter. So the 3-inch meters, the majority of them are 3-inch. They're about $600 a piece. And then you go to the 4-inch and they're $1,500. The 6-inch looks like they're $3,000. But most of the activity is in the lower meters. So when we get to the larger meters, those are at the schools, at our industry, our commercial. It's just when we did the project, we took the whole inventory of everything that we had. It was pretty old inventory, and passed that along during the bidding process. So, you know, Robin and Rocco and I talked that now we should have, well, not should, we will have up-to-date inventory that we can keep updated in the database. So everything should be current, will be current moving forward.
So that's one of the benefits of this project, is that we will have 100% accurate data on our meters going forward. Yes.
And you would anticipate, you know, out of 8,000 meters, right? I mean, you can't get into every house. You have to go off the meters that you've got. So, you know, the staff has been keeping up to date. So, you know, hopefully we've got a bell curve. Hopefully the numbers drop off, you know, as we get into the home stretch here.
Yeah, so I know you and I talked about that a little bit of this. My biggest concern is the restocking fee.
Yep.
Which seems like a lot to have about 20% and 25%. And I understand that inventory was not, you didn't have the right one. And when they purchased, we have a lot of purchasing power as a town. And the contractor should not be charging that much of the fee. Half of this is actually almost half out of the 80,000 is almost 30,000 is 29,700 is the restocking fee, which is a little concern to me. I think that seems excessive. From where I see that, so I have a hard time with that.
I don't think that, I may be mistaken. I don't think the 30,000 is the restocking fee. I think that's what the 80% that we're getting back.
That's, I mean, that, it's the credit, that's what you, it's a credit, but then, so 20% credit, how much is the restocking fee there?
Yeah, so
Out of 80,000, that's what I want to know. So total, what was the restocking fee of the things which you were asking?
yeah, so the restocking fee is only on those 18 meters. Right, yeah, it's 20% of that total cost. So a nominal, we're getting a credit of 29,000. The restocking fee, I'd have to go back and do the math, but it's probably $10,000 ballpark.
Carrie would know?
No, probably.
No, she won't.
But to your point, the restocking fee, right, Rockland said the same thing.
Yeah,
And he's had discussions with the contractor to negotiate that stocking fee.
yeah, I mean, 5%, 10%, that's, I can understand. And also, as we move forward, one of those things which, I mean, I would say that when we are buying these kind of things, so many houses, there's so many different houses throughout the community that you would find, I mean, I cannot order the same thing for my oven even nowadays because things change so fast. So when we are talking about buying millions of dollars, I think we need to be kind of a little bit more careful. Not, I mean, the town doesn't purchase it, but the contractor. Is there anything in the contract we can put it there that, especially from the restocking fee, they need to take responsibility for those things, that how they purchase and how they are restocking, and they're not going to put the bill to the taxpayers. That is the important part. I think I would like to have somehow some kind of safety thing as we move forward. I know we cannot go backwards here, but I'm just saying that when we are signing the new contract, is there any way to do those things? Because these things build up, right? Every $10,000 keeps on getting up.
No, absolutely. We can review that for the future to make sure that if there are any contractor purchasing problems, that they're responsible for them rather than the town.
Or we have a no
For that.
restocking fee that.
Correct, or whatever that's going to be. The math, just to let you know, roughly it's $7,500
Okay.
for the restocking fee.
Can you just explain why would something be restocked? Bottom, why is this happening?
So when they first started here, there were 18 meters. They said, well, we'll just replace those and bring them back, right? But they said there's a restocking fee. So the restocking fee generally includes somebody transporting
No, I get the process of the restocking. It's why were these 18 restocked? Like what was wrong with?
They were the wrong
Why
size.
wasn't it? Okay.
They were the wrong size.
Okay.
So once that we saw that there were gonna be more than the 18, right? When we started getting into, another 50 meters, contractor said, hey, I got a cheaper way to do this, right? Instead of taking the whole meter, the whole length and everything, they can take the ends off the meter and reconfigure the meter as cheaper than restocking. So that's how we got away from the restocking. So to your point, right, when the restocking
Right.
came up,
I mean, these will happen.
Yeah, right.
That's a thing, but we just have to protect some ways.
Right.
So we can put in a contract. So it's like a prevention.
Yep.
Rather than being reactive, we're being reactive right now. So I'm trying to go into that, how can we prevent that to happen in the future?
Prove this one, do better in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the math on this, we already approved a change order of up to $25,000. This is gonna replace that approval.
yes,
And so this will be an approval of up to $79,000. This is not 79,000 in addition to the 25, it's 79,000 instead of the 25. So it's 54,000 additional. But it is still under budget for the total project.
Yes,
We're still under budget.
and what we'll look at when we go through, the contract was unit price. So at the end of the project, we'll go over under change order. So, hopefully there are things that we don't use and, other things that we're over on. So hopefully it comes in.
Technically just a $50,000 change order. Because you've already approved the 25.
Amending and amend the prior.
Well, is it still change order 4? Was that the same number as the last one?
That's what the authorization was. So we did not do a formal change order for, we just did the authorization.
Okay,
Exactly what you were saying there.
yeah, so this will replace the previous change order.
We have previous amendment with a formal change order in 79,
Okay,
553.
we'll work on the language for that.
Yeah,
in the
second
minutes.
help too, Mitch.
But thank you again for the water department, you, Doug, and the contractors on this one. We had problems in the past with change orders and getting board approval and timeliness of it. And this whole process is, I think, exactly what the board has intended on these major projects, that it comes to the board with a full explanation before we're actually doing the work, even if it is something that, is necessary. So that's great. Thank you very much. Thank you for the water department, for the team on that. Yeah.
That's for the credit.
Okay. Do I have any other questions on the change order? Okay, seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the formal change order that will replace the previous amendment? Motion from Patricia, a second from Bernard. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, thank you very much.
Needs to talk about restocking things like that, the Draco.
Yeah, and we'll work, there's going to be some more, we'll work with the contractor on the restocking fee still. We'll work on our long-term relationship with them and taking that into account, but also on getting back from any of the extra parts that we're still going to have, trying to make sure that we auction those off like we already did with the previous meters, for getting some money back that way as well. Yeah, for scrapping.
Thank you, Doug.
Okay, yep. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay, are there any other town board updates? Okay, I do have one. I got an email this morning. I will forward it to the full board afterward, but I did receive notice this morning that Councillor Clee Hood is going to resign from the board effective today. Yeah, so we wish her the best. And we will talk about a process for appointing a replacement in the future. So, okay, I don't have any other updates at this point, so I will take a motion to go into executive session from Joe, a second from Patricia. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, everyone.